Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Lunch and Learn today. It is my pleasure to introduce Tanya Elzy, who is now Tanya Elzy JD, who works alongside attorney Tameka Tucker at TLT Law PLLC, which is a solo practice firm based in Farmington Hills. Uh, Attorney Elzy holds 3 degrees, a Bachelor of Science with a concentration in Business Administration from Cornerstone University, a Master's in Public Administration from Oakland University, and a Juris Doctor in Law from Western Michigan Cooley Law School. But what's not in there also is completion of the OCC Paralegal Program Associate's degree as well. Is that correct, Tanya? Did
I did not go
Oh,
through
you
the
did
program.
not. Okay, my apologies. I know when we met that there was a lot of discussion, and so I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that I covered all of your degrees. Her position with TLT Law is currently as a law clerk, paralegal slash office manager, while awaiting the results of the bar examination. Because it is a solo firm, she does a little bit of everything. About 95% of the cases in the firm are criminal defense, and her responsibilities include writing briefs, memos, fielding questions, keeping the attorney on track, and guiding clients through the process of a court case. Additionally, Miss Elsie is married with 7 children between she and her husband and 10 grandchildren. So it is my pleasure to welcome you today to talk to us about your journey, your educational process, and what it is that you're currently doing while again waiting for the results of your bar exam. So thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Oh, thank you. That was nice. Makes me sound very important. Hi, everybody. Good to see you guys. It was a funny story about OCC. Okay, I was on my way to OCC. I had already, once I graduated high school, I went to OCC for a couple of classes, right? And then I decided to go to Cornerstone, which was a Christian university. So I went there. But when I was getting ready to go to OCC, I was driving down the street, down Featherstone, getting ready to go sign up for the paralegal program because I had researched it. I decided that's what I wanted to do. And Cornerstone had a campus right before you get to OCC. I turned in there instead and went and said, well, I guess I should might as well go all the way. If I'm going to do a paralegal, I might as well go all the way. So I ended up going to Cornerstone. They gave me a tour. I fell in love with the facility and I stayed there. So that is why I did not complete the paralegal program.
I knew OCC paralegal was in there when you and I had met. So
Yes,
what a great literal roundabout story.
exactly, literally. Um, but yeah, so when I decided that, I think I was 45 years old, Tim. When I decided to go back to school again. Uh, it's crazy because I hated high school so bad. I hated it so much I never wanted to go. But I absolutely love college. So I keep going back. I don't know what's happening, but I keep going back. So I graduated from Cooley in 2020, right when COVID was in full swing. So our commencement ceremony was online, and then they closed our facility down there in Auburn Hills. So now it's up in Lansing. But I thoroughly enjoyed being in law school. I was able to sit down and concentrate. You know, at being older, being a different type of student at the time, I was able to sit down and concentrate because it takes a lot of work. And so I did that, and I actually graduated with honors. Um, I actually took the bar exam already, but I failed the first one. So, and I said that to say, let you guys know that it's okay, you know, because I kind of got depressed about it for a little bit and I didn't want to take it again. And no, and I tossed and turned whether or not I was going to tell you guys about that. But I said, why not? So I'm going to tell you guys. I did fail it, which was very extremely new for me because all through school I have been an A student, an A student. So I didn't know what to do with that information. Once they told me that I failed, I didn't know what to do with that. So I kind of got a little depressed about it, But actually, I'm back on track now. I took the bar again in July. I'm waiting for my results right now. Like you said, I work with attorney Tameka Tucker. She is one of my best friends. Um, we were supposed to partner up because we graduated at the same time. She took the bar before me though. And so it was supposed to be once I graduated, then and then passed the bar that we would partner up in this law firm. But like I said, I failed and then I fell into the thing. But she's still so cool. So I am still here. And, I hear her telling people, that's my right hand. I wouldn't know what to do without her. So there's that. Um, I do pretty much everything because it's just us right now. I actually signed on two interns today um, that graduated from the OCC program.
I'm
They're
so
going to work
excited.
opposite days. Yeah, they're going to work opposite days of each other. And they are awesome. They seem to be very awesome. So we are um, having them join us. And then that's Attorney Tucker. She's a little loud. um, so that's kind of my story. I've always been interested and in the law, I guess. And then so now I'm here. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be going into school. I really thought I was going to fall behind because it was 30 years since I've been in school, 20 years since I've been in school. So I really thought I was going to fall behind. It was going to be terrible, but I loved it. I loved it a lot. So, um,
So,
yeah,
if you don't
that's
mind, tell us a little bit, because I'm so fascinated always with returning students, with adult learners. Obviously, our program really draws to such a wide range, and I'm always so interested in people's their path, their journey. Oh, good morning.
that's attorney
Oh,
Tameka Tucker.
oh, good morning. Oh, thank you so much for signing on our interns. This is a first for our program with your office, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that you're providing to them. So thank you
No, thank you.
very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
I want to provide the same opportunity because I came from the medical field. And when it was time for me to try to intern somewhere, because I didn't come from the legal field, I had a hard time finding an
Yeah.
internship.
Yeah. Well, that's
So,
the goal of the internship is to bridge that gap between the education
Mhm.
and work experience.
mhm,
There's nothing worse than walking away with your fancy degree and then being passed over because you don't have experience. It's the whole,
mhm,
well, how do I get it if you don't provide it? And so
Exactly.
mhm.
every time we have these opportunities, I'm just so grateful. And I really enjoyed getting to meet Tanya when she called out. Just I guess maybe a month or so now that we've had the opportunity to connect. And so I invited her today to speak because the story is just it's so universal. And again, so much. I was just getting to the question about our students that are returning, to school, about what were some of the things, Miss Elzy, that you were able to rely on to help kind of get you through. And from Attorney Tucker as well, I would love to know, is it family support? Is it, identifying resources? What were some of the ways that you were able to capitalize on, different areas to make sure that you could dedicate yourself to a program?
Mhm. Well, I personally had a lot of family support. Like I said, I got a lot of children. Most of them are grown. They're all grown at this point, but we have grandkids as well. So it just uh, took a lot, and they learned how to, when I'm in study mode, leave me alone. Let me go ahead and study. Um, they My friends did a lot. We did a lot of study together. We did a lot of group activities so that we could figure this out because this is a whole different way of learning. Like she said, she was in the medical field. I was in the business world. It's law is completely different than any of that. So it takes a minute to kind of get yourself used to it. And it takes a lot of reading, memorizing, studying. It's a lot,
Yeah.
but it's doable. It's definitely doable.
Yeah, I got my first degree from OCC as a respiratory therapist at Southfield campus back in 2002. Um, so that was my first. That was the first degree. I had two little kids, two sons at the time when I graduated at 23 with my respiratory degree. Um, and then I worked in the medical field for 25 years. And then I decided, oh, I'm tired of working in the medical field. My knees hurt. I'm only in my 30s, but my knees hurt, because we push a lot, we push respiratory therapists push around a lot of equipment. So I'm like, I gotta find something else, but I gotta find something that's, willing to take, my degree. And law that was it took me just as I was. It took my bachelor's degree in respiratory with no issues, but I was behind. I was behind the eight ball, deficit, because I didn't come from the legal field. So while my classmates, which were way younger than I was, there are, I already work for, law firm, or I have a criminal justice degree. I had none of that. I didn't have any friends or any contacts in the legal world. So um, I had to work extra hard to, as my teachers would say, I had to go from regular writing to legal writing, which I had no concept of. And at the time, well, both my sons were away at college, but I still had my youngest daughter. She just graduated high school this year. But there was babysitting issues all of a sudden, and I still had to work. So I was working, I was working weekends, and going to school at night, law school at night, while my daughter was, so I could be at home, while she was in school during the day. There was a couple of times where my teachers allowed me to bring her to school, which I think, she had her little headphones on, but I thank them for it, because sometimes you need that extra help. And my teachers, they knew I worked in the medical field, and sometimes I came to class, I still had on my scrubs. I would be tired as can be, but they understood. They understood. They understood that I had a family, and that I still had to work. And then I ended up interning with the Innocence Project, the Cooley Innocence Project out in Lansing. I did that for 8 months, and I loved it, because I come from the medical field. I worked at Sinai Grace, inner city hospital. So my whole life I've spent helping people. So um, that worked in my favor. But when, like you said, when I graduated, there I didn't have any trial skills, besides what I'm taught in school. I don't have any trial skills, criminal, because my internship was, more of research and writing, that's it. So no one wanted to hire me. And then, that's the sad reality. And if they did hire me, or I did extend an offer, it was like they would offer to pay me what I could get paid working at Walmart. And I'm not trying to be funny. So I'm like, heck, I didn't do all of this, and I didn't survive all this to just give up. So that's how I ended up opening my own practice. And I went from a little a little 300 square foot office to I have a 1,300 square foot office. But you have to be willing to put in that work. Um, and I developed relationships with other, older attorneys, established attorneys, to where I had, if I had questions, I can call them, and ask them. So I just feel like I want to extend that same, offer to other other students, or people, because it was hard. I got discouraged. People wouldn't, like you said, like you were stating, there's no experience. So it's like, yeah, we'll hire you, not we'll hire you, but we'll interview you. We'll take graduates, but then it's like, yeah, we want experience. So this is my chance to help out and bridge that. And I do criminal work, I do appellate work.
Couple of family law cases.
Yeah, some family law, some probate, not a lot of family law, but mostly more like custody,
Mm-hmm.
and then like probate guardianships. Usually, most of the guardianships I've done is for parents who are trying to get guardianship of their adult mentally handicapped kids. Um, Again, like I said, that's because I do what interests me because I come from a medical field background. Um, so and that was the first thing I actually worked for when I turned 18. I worked for group homes, worked with people who would disabilities and mental health. Mm-hmm. So my practice, I treat everybody like they're normal. I don't treat them like they're a criminal. Right. Because sometimes it's just unfortunate in this day and age. You say boo and you're arrested. There is no leeway. There's no leeway anymore. Mm-hmm. So everybody is charged, and and sometimes they just need a helping hand. Mm-hmm. So I'm not the person who's going to blame or judge them. I want, and part of it is I want them to be open and honest with you. If you have a drug problem or you're home, you're having some type of problems, I can connect you with social work, or I can help you with other resources. I know it's not technically a part of my job, but again, I come from the medical field, so I can help I can help with that. If you need So, and then a lot of my things too is even when I'm speaking with the prosecution, like I'll try to craft some type of offer that would deal with their mental health, or would deal with their substance abuse, because sometimes jail is not the place for a lot of people.
Right. You're seeing them as the whole person.
I see them as the whole person.
So Tim has been very patient with his hand up, and I am just I am ready for your question, Tim.
But it kind of holds into what you're just talking about. It's really two questions. First I was curious if you went part-time to law school, and second, and I think I know the answer to that because going to class in scrubs probably answers that a bit. And the other question was, and this is maybe more for Tanya here. Did you feel that your paralegal schooling and training helped you significantly in law school, or was it so, or?
Well, I started law school part-time, and then I went full-time afterward. Because I didn't have the time, and luckily I was able to do that. I had somebody at home supporting the bills, so I could do that. Go ahead and go full time. And I didn't actually complete the paralegal program. Remember, I went on and went to law school, but I kind of wish I had, so that I could have a little more experience with the research and writing portion before I got all the way that far into law school. I mean, it's involved in law school. For everything you do, you have to research and write. I get that, but I wish I had probably had a little more practice with that. So I think that you guys would probably be starting out better than I did.
I lasted one whole semester going part-time. They told me it was going to take 5 years instead of 3 years. I was like, I got to figure something out, but I ended up going full time. I still worked my 36 hours, a week, in the medical field. But, interesting enough, I had looked at going into the paralegal program before deciding on law school. But and what made me end up saying forget it, I might as well go to law school, is because the first 2 years of paralegal program, the classes you guys take, are the same exact classes that are taken in law
Exactly.
school. So I'm like, heck, I might as well go one extra year and get, and get my my Juris Doctorate degree if that's the case.
Mhm.
So I think you guys as paralegals, if you want to go back to law school, you guys will have a leg up.
Yeah. It really can be a great pathway. I mean, obviously, when we meet our
Mhm.
students and talk to our students, paralegal is a solid, standalone, professional
It
legal
is.
career.
Mhm.
And it's also a great way to decide if law school is what you want to do,
Yeah.
sort of like you had done. We have students who say, well, I'm interested, but maybe they don't have the financial ability at this time, or they don't
Mhm.
have the means. So this is, as you said, it is very similar. Obviously, then it splits where law school goes much more into the theory, whereas paralegals more of the practical skills. But in my days of hiring, as a legal operations manager, I am a paralegal. But when attorneys would come to the office who had paralegal background, I would call them my unicorns, right?
Mhm.
Because you come out of law school and you haven't necessarily learned how to draft a motion. You don't
Right.
understand what the, Michigan court rules encompass.
You're
And
right.
so if you have that plus the law school, right, it can
I
really,
give all respect to paralegals.
oh, for sure. Both,
Oh my
it goes
goodness.
both ways, for sure. It's symbiotic
I say
relationship.
paralegals are the backbone of lawyers, just like nursing assistants are the backbone of nurses.
Yes.
Like I seriously.
Yeah. I had a dental cleaning earlier this week and speaking to the hygienist, and she wanted to know what I do. And so I told her I'm with the program and as a paralegal, and she wanted to know, well, what do paralegals do? And I said, it's so similar to what you're doing, right? You meet
Mhm.
with me first, you prepare me, you take the notes, and then the doctor comes in, you explain to him, and then he does something different, a little whatever. I said, but it's very, again, that symbiotic relationship of the preparation and the background and so yeah, very interesting.
I have a couple of friends that have been paralegals for 25 years and love it.
Mhm.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So they don't want the responsibilities that
Well,
lawyers have.
and we think differently as well. I mean, I knew very
Hmm.
early on that law school was never going to be for me. I really enjoyed the paralegal side because I like organization. I like
Hmm.
document management. I like putting pieces together. I like, right? And
Right.
so that's where my skill set lies. And so, yeah, it can be, again, that great segue, but
Mhm.
it's, we think differently, and
Hmm.
when you're in the, and Tanya, you're gonna, wow, you're gonna be so ahead of the game when these positive bar results come in, and
Thank
then
you.
you get to stand up in court and you get to give the legal advice and right? You get to do all the things that paralegals are capped.
I
Um,
am utter chaos. So
oh, see, so that
It's
it'll be
not.
great. Oh, great, Sydney, I'd love to hear your
All
question.
right.
Hi. So part of my intention with taking the paralegal program at OCC was to see how I feel about legal classes and if I would like to go to law school either after or instead. I'm still in my first semester right now, so I could very easily switch gears and it's not much time lost toward
Mhm.
this paralegal program. So my question is, how much time did you spend preparing for the LSAT for the law school entrance exam when you decided to make that switch? Or did you just go take it without preparing?
Great
that's
question.
what I did. I just decided on the whim one day, oh well, let me see if I can get into law school. And I'm not gonna lie, I went on Amazon and bought some books and read them and went and took the LSAT and I had a 146. That was good enough
Wow.
to get me into law school.
Wow.
Okay,
So
so you did buy the books though and studied a little bit.
right, I got
Mhm.
found some. I found some, because they're like, oh, you have to take all these, these preparation classes, and I didn't do that. I just bought some books off Amazon, studied them and went and took it, and that's how I ended up uh in law school.
I didn't study. I don't think I studied. One of my friends one I said that works as a paralegal, she told me to start doing logic puzzles. And
Mhm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, do the logic puzzles. They'll change your mindset. They'll make you think differently.
Mhm.
So I started doing that, and then I went and took the LSAT. I'm right
So
behind her.
from Sudoku to law school, right? That's
Right.
that was your pathway. Wow.
Right.
Okay. And where did you both say you went to law school?
Coolly.
Okay, you both did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
I did. I liked it because it worked around. I was able to work around my schedule. I was still able because a lot of the law schools you're not still able to work.
Hmm.
I was still able to work. I was still able like I said a few times I had babysitting issues and I would call my teachers and they're like bring her with you. You know what I'm saying? We just want you in in class. So that and they gave a lot of options. I know the law schools now, from what I'm understanding, are giving more options. But when we were when it was either full time or part time, but it was all in the daytime.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Cooley had it where you could go in. Yeah, you can go in the morning, you can go in the night, you can go. They had week
Saturday.
Saturday, they had weekend, anything that could fit that would fit your schedule.
Mhm.
Um, and they had like three different types of part time, three, a couple of types of full. So basically, I went there because they fit my schedule the best. But it worked out for me. I passed the bar on the first time it was COVID. We graduated in 2020. I failed by 1 point, but but I waited a whole year because I was discouraged. Uh, and took it again, and I passed. But it's like you have to make out of it what you want.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing right there. It doesn't matter what school you go to. You
Exactly.
have to make out of it what you want to
Mhm.
get out of it. Because the teachers are only there to give you the knowledge. If you're thinking, "Oh, just because I went to a lecture, I'm good," that's not going to work for you. You
No.
know. Um which is a lot of these schools would do. What I liked about Cooley is every class we had to write. 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 There was no Scantron, multiple choice. No,
Mhm.
every test was, and you had to write it like you were writing a brief.
Mhm.
And that helped me get into, helped me get into um a legal mode. And it's like, okay, um, you have to read this chapter to this chapter, but I want you to do I want you to issue spot. I want you, to write a case synopsis. So that helped me the most. That was the biggest help for me. So
Mhm. Same.
That is very good to know. And I just want to say that I really appreciate you both, that you did go back later in life because I'm young, but I'm a single mom. I already have my bachelor's degree. I work two jobs. So it's
mhm.
Right.
very daunting to think about taking that on when I'm picturing, oh, you have to study for the LSAT for a whole year on your own, and then it'll take you 6 years, to go very part-time, and if I had
Mhm.
to go during the day or whatever it may be. So I really appreciate your life experience and background there because I do work at a law firm as a paralegal currently, but all of the attorneys here went straight from college, like to a
Traditional.
big
Yeah.
college,
Mhm.
went away to U of M.
Mhm.
That was their path from straight out of high school. So
Mhm.
Well,
thank you for doing this.
sure, that was the goal in my mind. I was raised, we were kind of poor. I lived in the projects for a lot of years. Um, my kids, when they started getting older, I wanted them to have more. I wanted them to have something different. So that's why I kept going back to school. So every time my wages, my income, it goes up a little, goes up a little, So yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, especially for the babies.
I was
So
a teen parent. I was
me
teen
too.
mom. I had
Me
my kids
too.
at 17 and 19. So
Yeah.
it's always it takes a little longer,
Mhm.
but you can still accomplish goals.
Mhm.
Yeah. Me too. I had my son when I was 20, so I already took him to college to finish the bachelor.
Right.
It is really been a fascinating change in the legal profession. I've been in this world since,
Mm,
for entering my 30th year of being in the paralegal profession, and to see the cultural shift and acceptance of what used to be called a non-traditional path, right?
mm,
Right.
You high school, you bachelor, you law school, you get a
Hmm.
job, like that was it. And as you said, law school was Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
Hmm.
There were no, and then slowly Michigan State kind of said, well, what about some weekend programs? And then Cooley
mhm,
Yeah.
said, well, what about, right? And now University of Toledo has,
Hmm.
and it's just been, I think, fantastic to
Yes.
mm,
really provide, you know, there's no one size fits all anymore. And
Right.
mm,
so it's really, it's great to see. And even here at the community college level, the amount of money from the state and the county that is dedicated towards continued education, with
mm,
Michigan Reconnect, with Oakland 80, with some of these
Hmm.
other, to kind of remove some of those financial barriers and to,
Hmm.
and,
mm,
here comes COVID, and now all of a sudden online learning is
Hmm.
an option, and so, yeah, it's really great to see. And again, here's Sydney, who is feeling supported by you having forged that path. And again, they're not even referring to it as, a non-traditional. It's just,
mm.
what was your path?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
options were you able to take advantage of? And I
mhm,
just think it's great. I just
It is.
to see that change, because the legal profession is extraordinarily slow when it comes to,
Any kind of change. Yeah.
Right. I mean, by way of example, we had an event that our paralegals were invited to last week out in Lansing with the State Bar of Michigan Legal Assistant Paralegal section. And so, some students were able to make the trip out, and I had several that reached out and said, what is the dress code, and how should we treat this? And it was fun for me to think back to, my first job when I was fortunately hired by Kitch Drutchess, and I get hired there as a paralegal. And one of the other paralegals says, "Oh, you're so lucky that you started when you did in 1997. They just changed the dress code rules where women can now wear slacks to work." Uh,
Yeah, I
you
remember.
know,
I
right? You know what
remember.
I'm saying? And the gentlemen, they had to have a coat, they had to have a jacket, and if they left their office to get a coffee, to go to the restroom, to go to the copy machine, they put their jacket on, right? This is not ancient history. And so the legal profession, this is my long-winded version of, very slow to change, very slow to remove those old thoughts and, and the traditional, and so
it's
it's just
changed even more
for
because
exponential,
99% of the time I don't wear suit coats.
for sure,
I don't wear suit jackets. I wear shawls.
for sure, right.
I wear my slacks. I wear my shirt, and I wear, I'm a shawl person. I
Yeah.
wear my shawls.
And it's
So,
amazing that you can
before it
be
was like the women
comfortable
had to
and
wear them.
professional.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Who knew? Who knew?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's evolved. Now the judges, as long as they see some
Something
slacks
covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
and a nice shirt, they don't care if it's a suit jacket or a shawl. You used to be a stickler. Where's your suit jacket? Where's your suit jacket, men or women? Where's your suit
Hmm.
jacket?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes. So it's just wonderful because again, it's just widens the net of people that
Yes.
can be a part of this world. So
And the younger generation of lawyers, I see them with tennis shoes on. They
Hmm.
have slacks
sure,
on their suit jacket.
sure,
And they just they instead of dress shoes, they have tennis shoes on.
sure. That's Yeah. Well, that's great.
Hmm.
Oh, friends, what other questions do we have? Don't be shy. Clearly. All right. Well, I want to thank you both for your time and how great that you were able to pop on and join us. Thank you also for sharing the news that the intern candidates have been accepted. I'll have to reach out and wish them my best to them both. And then hopefully it sparks and they're fabulous and this continues and we can send more
Yeah.
folks your way. And then as your firm continues to grow, here come job opportunities, right? So
Exactly.
I would love for us to continue to be on your list when you're reaching out. But again, your time is precious. We won't take any more of it. And I just want to thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Have a
Good
wonderful
luck.
Thank
afternoon,
you.
Thank you.
everyone. Happy Friday.
Thanks.
Happy
All right.
Bye,
Friday.
everyone.
Bye
See you,
now.
Sarah.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.